1. Blake Johnson was known all around the school as the best party host. The thought of his popularity burned me up. It was the middle of fall, the month of Halloween. Our school, Valley Corner Middle School, always had a Halloween party. Last year, Blake volunteered to host the party. Of course, it was super amazing. This year was going to be different, for I was to be the host this year. But before I get any more detail, let me introduce myself. My name is Mike Ronaldson. I have messy brown hair and blue eyes, which my friend Britt Nathan calls baby blue, but they're just blue eyes. No big deal. Britt's real name is Brittany, but she's a total tomboy and will hurt anyone calling her Brittany. My friend Leo Flick is short with a squeaky voice. He's like a sidekick to me. He stood by my side as we both walked to class. "So you're sure you want to do this?" he asked. "I have to, Leo," I said. "Blake is the whole talk of the school. Someone has to outdo him." Leo and I saw Blake up ahead talking to Britt. As they waved goodbye to each other, Britt came toward us. She wore a red cap, backwards, with a button-down shirt wide open over her favorite baseball shirt. The Yankees. Her jeans were rolled up to her knees. "So, what's going on, guys?" she responded between her smacks of gum. "Mike still wants to host this year's Halloween party," Leo responded. Britt just laughed. "You don't stand a chance. Everyone knows Blake is the host of any party around Valley Corner." The three of us walked into the classroom in a file line and sat in our seat. Britt sat behind me. Britt just watch and see. Our teacher, Mr. Morrow, stood up from his seat. "Okay, class. Before we get to work, we have to choose the host for the Halloween party this year. Who wants to volunteer?" That was my cue. I closed my eyes and raised my hand. 2. I jumped with excitement as my two friends and I walked out the classroom. "I actually did it," I said. "I'm the host this year." Leo was just as excited, but Britt wasn't impressed. "What the deal, Britt? Mike is hosting the party this year." Britt looked at us like morons. "You're only hosting the party because Blake didn't want to this year." The feeling of victory had sunk. "You mean he didn't vote against me?" Britt shook her head. "He told me before class." I sighed. "No matter," Leo explained. "You are completely going to wipe out Blake and his parties." Leo and I laughed and given a high five. "Question is, where is the party going to be?" Britt asked. Leo and I stopped and looked at each other for advice. I could tell Leo was clueless. Britt didn't seem like she had a plan at all. I leaned against the lockers and slumped. Now what am I going to do? Britt sat next to me. "Don't worry, I'm sure something will come up." Leo sat on the other side of me. "We just have to think of a scary place to have the party." A creepy, deep voice snuck up from nowhere. "Why don't you have the party at Over Hill?" 3. Grant stepped up in front of us. His spiked, gleaming hair drew our attention. Grant was the new kid of the school. He seemed to spend his time alone. No one really knew much about Grant, not even his last name. But he was cool to us. "That's a great idea," Leo replied. "Only that house is forbidden. Everyone knows it's haunted." Leo was right. Everyone knew the story of Hover Hill. The house stood at the top of Hover Street. A family had lived there years ago with a son who played pranks. He would play pranks not just to his friends, but to his family too. Then one day, one of his pranks went too far. His parents found him dead and left him behind as they moved away. "Well, explain to me why someone is living there now." Britt, Leo, and I jumped up and huddled. "Someone lives there? Do you know him? Think we can use it for the party?" Grant stopped us. "Don't worry, guys," he said. "I'll talk to him and ask if we can have the party at his house." Grant walked his way down the hall until he disappeared around the corner. The three of us began to make ideas for the party, but none of us were aware that the party was going to be scarier than we thought. 4. The next day, I rushed my bike to meet Britt and Leo. Britt had called and gave me the news we could have the party at the Hover Hill house. I was to meet them there now. The hill was too steep to ride on. I had to push my bike up Hover Street. The tall gray house greeted me with darkness from the surrounding of trees. The sun was shining brightly today, but as I approached the house, it seemed to have faded. Leo waved at me to grab my attention. Britt was adjusting her hat and faced it sideways left. "Hey, guys," I huffed. I kicked aside the kickstand and approached my friends. "So, what's the family that lives here?" I asked. "Grant said they won't be here till late this afternoon," Leo explained. Britt held the keys in my face. "But they lent us the keys so we have access to the house whenever we like." That seemed kind of weird to me. "How does Grant know this family?" I asked. "Does it really matter?" Leo replied. "Where is he anyway?" Britt rolled her eyes. "If you guys are done asking questions, we have a party to arrange for." Britt jiggled the key and opened the door. Leo and I followed close behind her. The door creaked as we stepped in. "Leo, stop breathing on me," Britt said. The door led us to the den. Something didn't seem right about the house. The three of us stared at a big couch covered with a white sheet. "I'm going to see what else is here," Britt replied. Leo was about to follow. "Wait, Leo." I grabbed him by his shirt and he stopped. "Something's not right here," I told him. "What do you mean?" Before I could explain, the chandelier came down right on top of us. 5. I pushed Leo aside and the chandelier shattered. My heart was racing. I assumed Leo's was too. Britt rushed her way back in. "What happened?" She shone her flashlight at the chandelier. "The chandelier almost crushed us," Leo explained. "Britt, where'd you get the flashlight?" I asked her. She placed it in her pocket. "It's mine. I brought it just in case." I took a deep breath and my heartbeat was normal. "I don't think we should have the party here," I replied. Britt placed her hands on her hips. "You want to cancel the party because of a chandelier." I got back on my feet and dusted myself off. "I'm not canceling the party. I just think..." I could see Britt wasn't going to nag me with my answer. The family who lives here should have checked it first. Britt rolled her eyes. Fine. At school, I'll talk to Grant. The three of us began to walk out the house. While Britt locked the door, Leo handed me a note. It was on the chandelier, he whispered. It was a light yellow note with a creepy letter G on the front. I read the inside and gasped. I guess I'll see you boys tomorrow, Britt replied. I wanted to show her the note, but I figured she'd mock us for it. Britt grabbed her bike and headed down the hill. I gazed at the note again. It said, "Liked my prank? Don't worry, there's more."